Becky and me, welcome to the programme.
First tonight, the mystery of the missing lecturer in a quiet corner of leafy Buckinghamshire.
Police have spent the day digging up the garden of a house in the small village of Drayton Parsley near Milton Keynes after being told by locals that the owner hadn't been seen for 6 months.
Samuel Alexander is a retired university English lecturer. His disappearance has sparked a major inquiry, with one man already arrested and bailed on suspicion of murder. Well, our correspondent Neil Bradford joins us live now from the scene of the search. Neil, an intriguing case.
Yes, despite that arrest, police are insisting this is still being treated as a missing persons inquiry, although with every hour and every day that passes, it seems increasingly unlikely that Mr. Alexander will be found alive. Certainly the feel of the investigation here on this quiet, affluent cul-de-sac in Drayton Parslow is more like a murder hunt.
Somewhere here at Samuel Alexander's home, police believe are the clues to his disappearance. Every inch of this extensive corner plot, inside and out, is being carefully searched by forensic specialists. Although a body has yet to be found, a 22-year-old man from London was arrested last Friday on suspicion of murder. He's since been released on bail. Samuel Alexander is also known as Sami Yaqub El-Kayoubi. Born in Egypt, he had lived in Buckinghamshire for 22 years. Before his retirement, he was a local university lecturer.
Neighbours in this quiet cul-de-sac described the 70-year-old as a very private man. He was last seen at a garden party in the village in August, but it was only earlier this month that neighbours began to realise something wasn't right.
The neighbours raised their concerns with a local community support officer, and a major police investigation began.
This is a missing persons inquiry. We're very concerned to find Mr. Alexander. He is considered to be a high-risk missing person. We have arrested someone for murder. That is a strand within the missing persons inquiry, and that is also ongoing.
This quiet Buckinghamshire village is simply not used to such tragic news.
This is usually quite a nice area, and there's nothing to worry about.
I don't think anyone was aware that he'd gone missing in the first place, so it's all quite a shock to everyone.
I knew something was up, but wouldn't expect that at all.
Police say Mr. Alexander has a 22-year-old son, a student in London. His only other known relatives are two sisters in Egypt. Police say they're keeping an open mind, but so far there is little evidence that he's alive.
Neil, it's terribly sad. It's taken 6 months to identify that he was missing. We can see the tent behind you, the police guard there as well. What is going to happen next now, then?
Well, despite that open mind, police say they have. Forensic investigators remain on the scene tonight, and earlier this afternoon we saw them take delivery of disc cutters and other tools, suggesting that their next move would be cutting through the concrete surfaces and patios of this property. Nevertheless, police say they still want to hear from anyone who may have seen Samuel Alexander alive between now and August.
Right, Neil, thank you very much indeed for that. Right, next tonight, doubts have been raised over the future of the Regional Fire Control Centre near Cambridge.
It's meant to replace the 6 county control centres and has taken tens of millions of pounds of taxpayers' money to build. But escalating costs and delays mean it may actually never be used, as Matt Hudson now reports.
A state-of-the-art building with state-of-the-art facilities and state-of-the-art security, all designed to coordinate firefighting operations across the eastern region. Just one problem: the state-of-the-art IT system still isn't up and running. There are even concerns the whole scheme could be scrapped. Now the minister responsible has had to apologise to MPs.
I think the taxpayer would rightly have expected us to have had a much better start than we did all those years ago. And, you know, I'm happy here to sit before you, Dr. Starkey, and to apologise for the inadequate start that there was for this project.
Many figures have been bandied about as to how much the budget for this project has risen over the years. However, those behind it say it was originally supposed to cost £380 million and will in fact cost £420 million, a rise of just £40 million. However, all sides acknowledge that it's the delays in time that have been the real problem here. At present, Norfolk, Suffolk, Essex, Cambridgeshire, Bedfordshire and Hertfordshire have their own control centres. But under the new proposals, all the county fire services would be directed from one super control near Cambridge. But problems with the extremely complex technology involved have caused delay after delay. The regional centres are supposed to improve efficiency, but critics say the current system of county control rooms works well. They point to the successful handling of major emergencies, such as the Buncefield oil terminal explosion. The Fire Brigade Union has opposed the idea from day one.
We've said all along that it was a harebrained scheme, and I think yesterday's Select Committee answers have borne that out for us.
But today, the man who will run the centre near Cambridge told us it will be a success, but everything has to be in place first.
I think the most important thing we should keep our minds on is that emergency call handling is critical to the delivery of fire services, and it's important that we get it right first time when we go live, and if that means a slight delay, then that must be the right thing to do.
The new proposed start-up date is autumn 2011, so at least another 18 months before staff are handling 999 calls here, and that could again prove to be an optimistic estimate. Matthew Hudson, Anglia News, Cambridge.
A group of women are on hunger strike at Yarl's Detention Centre near Bedford tonight. They've apparently been refusing food for 5 days because they've been separated from their children.
Well, yesterday the police were called when 50 of the detainees staged a protest about conditions there. Claire McGlasson has the report.
The usual security is in evidence here at Yarl's Detention Centre near Bedford today. The Home Office insists that the protest has ended peacefully. But Anglia News has spoken to women within Yarlswood today who say they are continuing on hunger strike, that they have refused to eat now for 5 days because they've been separated from their children.
It's not the first time there's been trouble here. In 2002, 2 detainees were jailed for their part in a riot which led to a fire causing nearly £100 million of damage. Now rebuilt, the centre houses more than 400 women and children. The latest protest about conditions and the length of detention.
There is no independent corroboration of what happened here yesterday. Police were called at lunchtime to a protest of around 50 women. Those women say they were locked in a corridor when they asked to speak to officials, that they had no food, water or access to toilet facilities, and that they had to break a window to get out. But the Home Office insists they were free to leave at any time.
People tried to get out of the corridor because we're isolated in the corridor. So people tried to get out through the window, and they were hurt with the plastic shields the officers used to hit some people on the face. Some of the ladies were bleeding outside. They were outside in the cold for over 6 hours.
We're trying to remove our jackets, our socks to give to those who are outside in the cold. So as I was pushing the window to put out socks for the girls, one of the officers pushed the window against my finger. He removed my nail.
I couldn't sleep night. I couldn't believe it. For me, it's just like a dream. Never ever would I have ever thought that I would be. Yesterday, I cried. It was horrible.
In a statement, the Home Office said the demonstration remained passive at all times and there was no use of force. All detainees are treated with dignity and respect, with access to legal advice and healthcare facilities. We only remove those who have no legal right to be here.
Above all, I think detention itself is incredibly damaging and incredibly depressing. They have no idea how long they're going to be detained for. Detention is indefinite, and many of them have no access to legal representation. So the only way that the vast majority of them can get out of detention is by applying for bail.
After yesterday's protest, 4 women spent the night in the cells at Bedford's Greyfriars police station, but they haven't been charged. The women we spoke to today say they'll continue their hunger strike until their voices are heard. Claire McGlasson, Anglia News, Clapham, near Bedford.
A man has been arrested and questioned in Suffolk over the murder of a policeman.